Hello, pagans and practitioners, and welcome to episode 1. I wanted to start off the podcast at the very beginning of what witchcraft is, so we're going to take a few minutes and try to define the craft. This is a difficult thing to do, just because of all the different paths and practices, and all the different concepts of how to go about calling yourself a witch. The thing I think we can all agree on is that witchcraft is a practice that involves work and dedication, and part of this involves the manipulation of energy. I like to define it as a spiritual practice involving energy, magic, and an affinity with nature and or the divine. It is at its core a practice of understanding the self. What witchcraft isn't is a religion. In fact, you can be any religion in practice. It is instead an expression of your spiritual self and your higher self. In a later episode, we may get into the differences and overlaps between witchcraft, paganism, and Wicca, so I'll save that for a later date. I see witchcraft as the overlap between history and lore, magic with a K, divination, herbalism, spirituality and spirit, research, and the concept of the self. Now, this isn't to say you have to be a master or even use all these things in your craft to consider yourself a witch. That's what is so great about witchcraft. It's very personal, and it's a very moldable form of spirituality. Your path will never look like that of another witch's. Going back to the aspect of energy in our definition, a witch works with the energies of the universe to get what they want and get where they want to be. Everything has energy, everything. You can also pull energies from within or from deities if you work with them. A witch will take and infuse these energies with their intent and send them back out into the universe with the help of things like manifestation and spell work. If you're a beginner and you're not familiar with these terms, do not worry, we will be going over these aspects in later episodes. Witchcraft teaches that by accessing and manipulating energies, one can impact their reality. Now, thanks to historical persecutions and modern pop culture portrayals, there's a lot of stigma and misconception surrounding the craft. Starting with the obvious, witchcraft is not demonic, it's not devil worship, a lot of witches don't even believe in the devil. It's just a spiritual practice. And a witch isn't a caricature of an old lady with warts on her nose. A witch is just the term used for anybody who practices magic. There's also no such thing as a good witch versus a bad witch. Even if they hex, that doesn't make them an evil witch or a bad person. And if you don't want to hex, you don't have to. It's not a necessary part of the practice. It's up to your code of ethics. Next, woman and witch are not synonymous. A witch can be a man, a witch can be a non-binary person. It has nothing to do with sex or gender. The craft is also more based in reality and science than a lot of people would think. It's not Harry Potter. And to reiterate, witchcraft is not a religion. These are just a few of the misconceptions I could think of off the top of my head. I'm sure I'm missing a ton. So now we get to the question of how do I get started? If you're listening to this, you at least have a little bit of interest in the craft and starting your own journey. It can be extremely overwhelming to know where to start. There are tons of paths to choose from, but do not think that you have to settle on one, especially not in the beginning. It's really all about experimentation and finding what works for you.